Okay, let's start again. So we were talking about this exercise. Let me share it again. This is the summary. So we said the types of errors. Some of you mentioned grammar. Yeah. What else? Akred, your mic.
Grammatical error and spelling error and sentence structure error.
Sentence structure, utterances. Good. Now, when to correct exactly? When? Another volunteer.
When students use wrong tense.
Yes, others. When to correct? Yes, Halima, your mic.
Delay the correction until the end of the activity.
Good. Abu Faraj. Yeah, your mic, Abu Faraj. So I have to help here. Yes, Abu Faraj. Okay, yeah, Abu Faraj, can you? Yeah, what's the answer?
Hi. So what was the answer, the question, please?
Yeah, when to correct?
Yes, we either delay the correction or we try to correct immediately if the mistakes hinder the communication.
Perfect. Yeah, great. Yeah, and we talked about the correction techniques. Okay, like terminology, gestures, utterances, etc. I guess that's enough for the review, okay, about error correction. Any question before we move to the next part of this session with Mr. Abdel Fattah and his workshop on testing learners? Any question so far? Okay, no question?
Sir, I have a question about types of errors
Yeah.
because I got confused in this section, in this part of the lesson. Uh, did we mention all the types of errors in that lesson, or we have others and we need to look for it ourselves? Maybe like we had a limited like number of types of errors. Do we have other than what we mentioned in the lesson last time?
Yeah, good. So here it's not about if there are, we mentioned all the types or all the techniques, because it depends. Some experts or some teachers have designed some types, others have designed different types of error correction. You see my point? There is no exact number. There is no exact number of the techniques or the types of errors.
Types, yeah.
There is no exact number. You see my point?
Yes.
So it's, when we talk about teaching, we cannot specify this is good, this is bad, this is the right number. Even, for example, remember when I was when we talked about vocabulary, we said, yeah, some teachers opt for teaching just 6 to 10 vocabulary, others from 8 to 13 or 14 vocabulary words. So all the time it depends on your situation, your class, etc. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so let me now share with you the presentation of Mr. Abdel Fattah. Yes, Mr. Abdel Fattah, the floor is yours. Just 1 second, and I'm gonna share this presentation. Okay. Yes, Mr. Abdel Fattah. The floor is yours now. Just 1 second. Okay, Abdel Fattah, yes.
Hello, everyone. I wish that you are all doing well. And inshallah, today we are going to talk about testing. Before we start our presentation, which is about how you can effectively design or construct your tests for your learners, I would like to ask you a question. Do we teach for learning or we teach for testing? This is a question for you.
So Mr. Abdel Fattah said, do we teach for learning or do we teach for testing?
For learning, of course.
For learning.
Why?
For learning.
Why?
So learning is most important.
Yeah, we need. Sorry.
First of all, we need to learn. Then we
test them.
Hey, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes, Asma.
Yeah, we need to teach the students how to speak English, how to practice English first in their daily lives, and then we test their skills to know if we need to teach them in other ways, if they are on the right track.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's.
Any
Yeah,
other interaction? So, as your friend has mentioned, we of course we teach for learning. We do not teach for testing, because the main goal of the language teaching is to expose learners to a certain input. However, certain countries where teachers are like forced to administer the scores or submit the scores of students to the administrators. So here they should like construct the test. So this is the reason why we find ourselves as teachers obliged to construct tests. But before we go deeper on the presentation, Hussein, can you move on, please?
Yes, sure.
So we need of course, to make a distinction between assessment and testing and evaluation. So of course, we have some key terms here. We have assessment. We have assessment.
Mr. Hussein?
Yeah, Abdel Fattah, they said that the sound is not clear. Let me just mute everyone.
Yes.
No, can you use please headphones? Just to
I
hear
don't
you.
have the headphones now, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem, but let me just mute everyone.
okay.
Except Abdel Fattah. Okay, yeah.
We have assessment. And we have assessment, testing, and evaluation. Of course, we have assessment. Assessment can be defined or was defined by researchers in many different forms. Can you move on, Hussein, to the definition of assessment, please?
Yeah. This one?
The definition, I can see it.
You can see?
Yeah.
No.
Can you all see the definition of assessment?
No, not yet.
We can see the definition, yeah.
No,
You cannot see?
No.
No, let me stop and share again. Okay. Now, can you see?
Mhm.
Yeah?
Now, can you
No.
move on, please? Can you
No.
move?
You can't see?
No.
No.
second page.
We can see the slide, but we can't see this section.
Yeah, we just have the first slide.
Yeah, this is the first one, assessments. Bachman
We
defines
Yeah.
Can you see
Anyways,
it? Can you see
no,
it?
we can't see it. No.
No,
And
no.
No,
no one. Okay,
no.
just one
Not yet.
second. 1 second, please.
Okay, before solving this technical problem, in your opinion, what is the difference between assessment and testing? Any idea? What is the difference between assessment and testing? Are they the same?
Assessment as many there are many types of assessment. Testing is one form of assessing. This is
Very
what I
good.
think. Mhm.
And what about the others? Thank you for your interaction, please.
Thank you so much. You're welcome.
What about the others? Do you see that there is a difference or they are the same? When you assess, is it the same as when you test?
Yes, Asma.
I think a test is when we actually examine their skills to know if they're, it's the last step of assessment. But assessment is when we only give them assignments to monitor and to document if there is any improvement. Yeah, that's it.
All right, thank you very much. That's a good interaction.
Yes, others.
Any others, please?
Assessment is hello.
Yes,
Yeah.
Rashid.
Assessment is continuous. So, but
Excellent.
test is about evaluating students' level, and it's usually at the end of the year. But assessment is during the whole year.
Exactly.
Okay, can you see now? Sort of interrupting.
Yes. Can you please move, please? Okay, thank you.
I guess
so
there
now-
are, yes,
Yes, please, sir.
there are
Please,
two
Mustafa.
types of assessments. We have formative assessments and we have summative assessments. Formative
Exactly.
assessments, I mean, for example, when we have such kind of unit check, okay, or even periodic check, okay. It's basically, it can be monthly check. So this is formative assessments. But summative ones, I mean, when it comes to session, for example, semester assessment, I mean, to check, I mean, the global, can say, level of the students. I mean,
Exactly.
this is
Thank you very
what
much.
I think. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Any other volunteers, or we just? Oh, okay. As I said, assessment and testing were defined differently by different research. For example, here we have Bashman defines assessment as the purposeful, systematic, and ongoing collection of information as evidence of use in making judgment about student performance. In the other hand, Brown 2004 defines assessment as any act of interpreting information about students' performance. So as you can see here, as some of your mates have mentioned, that assessment is an ongoing process. It is not like done in a specific period of time. Instead, it can start from the very beginning of the language course till the end of that language course or program course. So it is not, as I say, related to any specific period of time. So it's ongoing. So you as a teacher, you are always assisting students as you either implicitly or explicitly, by making judgments about their performances, even if you are not being aware of that, you are assisting them. Testing, on the other hand, can you please more specifically?
Yeah. Yes, testing. Can you see?
Can anybody of you please read this definition?
Yes, please.
Can I read?
Okay.
Yes, please go ahead. Anyone, one of you.
So raise your hand. Just let me see.
Can I read?
Okay, Mustafa.
Yes, Mustafa.
Well, a test is used to examine someone's knowledge of something to determine what that person knows or has learned. It measures the level of skills or skill or knowledge that has been reached.
Exactly. So as you can see, testing is related to the examination of what a person or a learner or a student has learned in a specific period or a specific course. So for example, we as language teachers, we always tend to see whether the what have been taught, whether students have grasped what have been taught or not. So for this reason, we resort to testing. So so to make the distinction between testing and assessment, testing is an ongoing process, while testing is always related to a specific period of time. So it is always tests are always administered in a specific period of time. So here, as you can we move please?
Yes.
So here, for example, so on the top, as you can see, we have evaluation, and here you have a number of tests. In that continuum, the continuum represents the learning process. So that's learning. And
Yeah, there is a
the all the time. Yeah, exactly. Okay.
okay.
So as I said, tests, you can, for example, as a teacher, administer a test at the very beginning, in the middle of the school year or the semester, and at the end. But assessment is always so it's always continuous. It's never related to a specific like period of time or point in time, but it's always continuous. And evaluation is the umbrella term, which combines all the other terms like testing and assessment. So
Good.
do you yes? Do you notice the difference between the three terms?
Yeah.
So
Between what?
evaluation is the umbrella term, yeah?
Yeah.
Then we have three types of, three tests. Just in the beginning, in the middle of the year, and at the end. This is what you mean, Abdul Fattah?
Exactly.
Good.
Yes,
But the
exactly.
assessment is in every single class. We assess students. It's continuous.
Okay, let's suppose that there is a situation in which there is a class in which we have a teacher, and that teacher asks the specific student to deliver a presentation. Okay.
Yeah.
And of course, the teacher will give the student feedback about his performance on the presentation. Can we say that this is testing or assessment?
So what? Yes.
Can you repeat, please?
Raja said, can you repeat the question?
Yes, please. Can you repeat?
So I said there is a classroom in which we have a teacher and student, and that teacher asked the specific student to deliver a presentation. Okay. And the teacher, of course, at the end of the presentation, he will give his feedback on the presentation. That, so, as usual, he always gives feedback. Can we say that this is assessment or testing?
It's an assessment.
It's
Assessment.
It's
Why, in your opinion?
Yes.
Why, in your opinion? Why, please?
It's ongoing.
I think it's a test
Why?
because he as you said specific students you say.
Yeah, it's a specific student. But if you go back to the definition of the testing, you will find that the main purpose of tests is to see what students have learned. But in the presentation, the teacher will just give normal feedback as any teacher giving.
So is it just a test? I'm sorry.
So it's not a test.
It's an assessment.
It's
a
formative assessment. Yes.
Formative assessment.
Exactly. Yeah. So you know, do you see the difference between assessment and testing?
Yes.
Well, okay.
Now, if we go back to the presentation that Mr. Hussein has delivered about errors, when you correct errors, your students' errors in daily life, in the daily routines of the classroom, you are not testing them. You are not testing their knowledge about grammar, but instead you are assessing their performances and their competencies in language, in grammar, and in communication. You see?
So this is assessment.
Yeah, it's assessment. So
Yes.
testing, what you have to bear in mind, please, testing is always like formal. You always administer a test or a quiz. So you always like inform your students about that.
Yeah.
But in assessment, students may not be aware of that they are being assessed. You see what I mean?
Yeah, good.
Okay,
Abdel
so can I
Fattah,
conclude,
good.
please?
So Abdel Fattah,
Sure.
Please go ahead.
when we talk about assessment, it's something that happens continuously. Like for example, when the students are giving presentations, the teacher give feedback. When students are presenting a certain topic and the teacher gives, for example, his or her feedback. When we talk about testing, it's graded. For example, there is a paper.
Always graded, yeah.
Yeah, there is a paper and there is task number 1, 5 points, task number 2, 2 points, etc. Okay, so this is the difference.
So, Miss
And
Teacher?
can you please go ahead? Yes.
Yeah, yes, Raja.
so
Well, I can conclude the assessment. The purpose of assessment is all the information about, for example, student progress or performance,
Exactly.
and determine his interests to make a judgment about his learning.
Good.
Exactly, yeah.
Thank
Is it
yes,
fine?
Halima.
so I want to ask you. So the assignments that you give us, they are kind of assessment, and the last exam is the test.
Exactly. Thank you very much for clarifying this point.
Yes, interesting.
For example, in your class, you may assign a number of homework, okay? And the number of assignments, that's part of assessment. So you are always checking whether the students are doing the assignments and the homework. But at the end, you will tell the students that you will be tested in all the assignments, all the courses that are covered in this course. So this is testing.
Good, thank you. Yes, Mr. Fattah, can we move to the next slide? Yeah.
Yeah, please, we move on. If you don't have any questions.
Okay.
Okay, of course, tests serve a number of purposes or functions. One of these purposes is to identify the strengths and weaknesses of learners. So before, for example, you as a teacher, at the very beginning of your lesson or course, before you start, you have to identify what students know and what they need to know and so on and so forth. And second, the measure the extent to which the course objectives have been met. So of course, at the very beginning of the school year or the course, you set a number of objectives or goals. And in order to test whether those objectives have been met or not, you have to resort to tests.
Good.
We have to measure learners' ability to learn a foreign language, and this is related to one of the types of tests, which is aptitude language test, which is designed to see whether learners have the ability to learn a foreign language or not. We have also to help teachers see whether the teaching methods adopted are effective or not. So of course, you as a teacher, for example, when teaching grammar, you may be adopting a number of techniques or strategies to teach that lesson. Of course, in order to see the extent to which those methods are effective or not, you have to administer or construct a test that will help you see whether students have grasped all the things that are being taught or not. We have to provide learners with wishback. Wishback is referred to as the effect of the test on the learners. Okay, so far so good. Is it good so far?
Yeah,
Yes,
thank
yes.
you. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
sure.
We have to identify the lacks and the wants and the necessities of students. The lacks always in this is related to a model of the needs analysis. You can, if you want, you can Google it and enlarge your knowledge about it. These terms are related to that model. We have lacks. Lacks is what the students do not have when they enroll or get in a language program course. We have the want is what students wish to learn in that language program, as an example. And the necessity is what students are required to know before coming to that language program. Is it clear?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
We have the help teachers to select the best teaching materials, and this is related to the teaching method. Of course, by testing your students, you will see where they have problems, and this, of course, will help you select the best materials that fit their learning styles and their individual differences. We have test help guide and improve learning and instruction. Of course, tests always should serve the purpose of helping learners improve their language learning. Otherwise, these shouldn't be used at all. Can we move on, please?
Good. Yeah, so here these are different functions. Now, my question is, what are the major or the most important functions of testing? So here, for example, we can, I guess, if you agree with me, it's gonna show the strengths and weaknesses of learners. These are one of the functions. So when you test your learners, you are going to see, are they good at speaking, reading, or not? And what are their weaknesses? Maybe they have got a lot of spelling mistakes. I mean here, writing mistakes. Then you work on these weaknesses. Another function which is very important that Mr. Abdel Fattah mentioned is this one.
Identify the lack.
The objectives. Your objectives have been met or not. Objective of your lessons, your reading lesson, your listening, your grammar lessons. Okay, so once you test them, if they got very bad marks in grammar, in chances, then your objectives were not met. So this is the purpose of testing. So what do you have to do? You have to work on the teaching methods. This one. Yes. Your methods and techniques, because they were not effective. That's why the objectives were not met. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, good. Yes, Mr. Abdel Fattah.
I just want to mention that if, for example, students, as Mr. Hussein has mentioned, students might get a bad score in your test. You as a teacher, you should always bear in mind that if a certain student gets a certain mark which is bad in a test, this should not always be related to your teaching method or your style of teaching. There are a number of factors that might influence the score of the learner. Okay?
Good. Interesting. Yes. So tests help the teacher and the student.
Yeah, of course. They should always. That's why at the very beginning we say that teaching should be done for learning. And of course, testing and assessment should always serve the purpose of learning, and they should not always, and of course, teaching as well.
Interesting. Yeah, any question, remark, or on this part?
Please, if you have any questions, feel free, or any other comments or additions.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, we continue here.
Of course, this test results are useful tools for measuring the effectiveness of instruction and learning, and this is again related to the teaching methodology adopted by the teacher. Thank you. Test results are important devices to share information with boards of education. For instance, the scores that students get in a test might be of great help for stakeholders, for parents, for administrators. They may be they can be considered as a tool of communication between, for example, the Ministry of Education and the teachers of English, and parents and teachers. Of course, they also help teachers determine the pace of language instruction. By the pace, it's like if you say the speed of language teaching. For example, sometimes teachers may be very fast in teaching language, and some others may be very maybe the opposite. So when you administer a test and your pace of language shifting is very quick, after the administration of the test, you try to change that pace of language instruction. Is it clear?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Good. Tests can help in decisions about grouping students in class. Sometimes in a specific class, you may have different types of learners. Learners who have different language proficiency levels. By administering a test, you will get to know the different levels that you have in your class. Okay? So, is it clear for everybody?
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, now, if you don't have any questions, we can move to the types of tests.
Okay.
As you know, before you start in your language teaching, you should always, before administering the language test, you should always ask yourself, why should I administer this test? What's the rationale behind doing this test? Because we are not going to test for the sake of testing. The test should always serve a specific purpose. And by identifying the purpose of your language test, you will automatically identify the type of test that matches your objective, okay? And this will lead us to talk about the different types of tests. What are the different types of tests do you know?
I know the placement test, diagnostic test.
Diagnostic.
And the placement test, you know, the level of the students. They use it in language centers, etc.
I know the proficiency test.
Very good, Rashid. What else? So, can we move on to you?
Okay.
There is the TOEFL too.
Yeah, we have TOEFL, which is a proficiency test.
Yes, professional, psychological, text.
Exactly. As you can see,
and diagnostics.
Yes. Thank you very much. We have the first one, we have language aptitude test. A language aptitude test is used to assess students' ability to learn a foreign language. That is to say, we always administer language aptitude tests to see the extent to which students are ready to learn the foreign language that is intended to be taught. We have a number of tests that are designed in the United States, like Modern Language Aptitude Test. It's MLAT, Modern Language Aptitude Test. And we have Pilsmore Language Aptitude Battery. Okay?
Yes.
We have proficiency tests are used to see the extent to which students have a number of skills and abilities in a foreign language at different levels. For instance, we have IELTS and TOEFL. I assume that you are all familiar with these types of tests.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
For you as teachers, or all of us as teachers, we are not mainly concerned with this language aptitude test and proficiency tests. We are more concerned with diagnostic tests because they are most of the time used to identify the weaknesses and strengths of students. And most of the time, as you may have experiences, they are, as students, they are always administered at the very beginning of the school year or the language program. Okay?
Good.
For achievement tests, they are designed to see the extent to which students have got a number of skills in a specific course or language program. And we have placement tests. They are used to place students from one level to another or to group students. And the main purpose of these type of tests is to have homogeneous groups and avoid having one group in which we have different levels. Is it clear?
Good. That's interesting. So here for the placement test, from its name, you place the students into the right level. And the
Exactly.
best example, we as, because if we want to study, for example, Spanish, we may go to the Spanish center, and the center from the very beginning, the center is going to
Exactly.
give us a test. And that test we are going to answer. And basically the questions are based on multiple choice questions, okay? At the end, once we finish the test, they will place us, is it level 1 or level 2 or level 3? This is placement test, okay? So basically at the public school or at public schools,
Sector.
we don't use placement test because we have common core, we have first back and second back, okay? So basically we don't use placement test. You see my point?
Yes.
We use it basically when you want to learn a language the first time, or when you want to join a certain center, language center. Yeah, diagnostic test, it's very important at the public schools. In the very beginning, the teacher is going to give you a test just to see what are your weaknesses and what are your strengths. So as a teacher, when you start teaching either in the private sector or in the public sector, it's a great idea to start with a test. My students, are they good at writing, speaking, reading? They have good vocabulary, bank, etc. And as Mr. Abdel Fattah said, proficiency, yeah, the best examples are the TOEFL and the IELTS. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank
What
you.
about achievement test?
Yeah.
I think,
Of course. Yeah.
Yes,
I think,
Rashid?
I think for achievement test, it's like a baccalaureate test. It's you measure how well you did during the course.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so let's clarify more. Placement test. The best example is American Language Center, British Council, AMIDES. You want to study English, you have to take the placement test. Are you beginning one? Are you intermediate, lower intermediate, advanced, etc.? Proficiency